This is not one of those fun pedals. This is not a pedal you get on Christmas morning and you're just excited to plug it in and turn the knobs and play with it. However, this is a very practical pedal. This is a very useful pedal. This pedal can be used in several different creative ways. So coming up, we're going to talk about the uses for this pedal. We're going to go over the features and then we'll hook it up. I'll go through all the modes and I'll show you some ways you can use this pedal. There's a lot to get into with this thing. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. So there are a few different reasons why a guitarist would use a pedal like this. Number one is they want to keep their signal chain as clean as possible. They want to be able to use pedals, but stay as close to a signal chain as straight from a guitar to an amplifier. And that is where something like this comes in. There are pedals out there that will affect your tone even when the pedal is off. If your pedal has true bypass, that's usually not an issue, but let's say you have 20 pedals on your pedal board. There's a chance you're going to lose some tone somewhere. So something like this pedal allows you to put other effects pedals in the effects loops here, and then when you're not using those pedals, you can just have this pedal in the signal chain, guitar into this pedal, guitar out of this pedal to your amp, instead of having your guitar run through all 20 pedals all the time. It can be as simple as just having one pedal you want to keep out of the way, you throw it in a loop, and then you kick the loop on when you want to. The way I think most people would use this is to bring in a bunch of effect pedals into the signal chain with one click. So let's pretend we're switching from a verse tone to a chorus tone. For the verses, you want a clean tone with like delay and tremolo. And then in the chorus, you want a heavy distorted tone with a flanger. If you were just getting those tones by turning pedals on and off, to switch from verse to chorus, you would have to turn off the delay and tremolo pedal and then turn on the distortion and flanger pedal. That's 4 different pedals to switch on and off in order to get from tone A to tone B. This pedal allows you to have all those tones set and then switch from tone A to tone B with one click. You can leave all those pedals on all the time. In loop A, you could have your verse tone, so your delay and tremolo are in that effects loop, and in loop B, you could have your chorus tone, distortion and flanger for this example. So to go from A to B, instead of having to turn pedals off and turn pedals on, you hit one foot switch to switch from loop A to loop B. You're still using your pedals, you're still getting the tones you want, but you're switching it a little more effectively. Now, the third reason you might want to use this is to use it kind of like an amp switcher. I'll talk about this later in the video a little bit more, but the final mode on this pedal is just an output switcher. So you can ignore the effects loops, you can have a tuner set to the output, a clean amp for send A, then a dirty amp for send B, and then have your guitar be able to switch between those 3 outputs with a switch. So it's not as flexible as something like an ABY pedal, but it's very similar to that in that last mode. So those are some reasons why somebody would use this pedal. And let's go ahead and talk about all the features included in this pedal. This pedal features a 1/4-inch input and output right on top. In between the input and output, you have your 9-volt power input. This pedal can also be run off a 9-volt battery. On the side, you have 2 1/4-inch inputs and 2 1/4-inch outputs. Your outputs are going to be send A and send B, and your inputs are going to be return A and return B. And those are going to be your 2 different effect loops. Send A goes to return A, send B goes to return B. You have a single foot switch to operate this pedal, knobs to control the levels of loop A and loop B, and then you have a 6-way selector to determine which mode this pedal operates in. And I will show you each mode later in the video. This pedal features a full metal construction with rubber on the back so it doesn't slide around when it's on the floor. If you have Velcro, you can attach that right to the rubber, or you can peel the rubber off and put the Velcro right on the metal back. And that is it as far as the features go. Let's go ahead and hook this pedal up and see what we can do with it. So we have the pedal connected now, direct from my guitar to the input and straight from the output of the pedal to my interface. Then I have a Vox amp profile and it sounds like this. So that's what we're starting with. So let's go ahead and put a pedal in the A line or the AFX loop. The send is going to be our output, which goes into the pedal, and then we go out of the pedal back into the return. I have this overdrive pedal. Let's go ahead and get that in the signal chain. So now we have the overdrive pedal connected to the A channel. So I'm going to kick the overdrive on, but you won't hear it yet because we don't have the A channel on. In order to get it on, we have to kick it on in the orthos. The knob marked A level controls how loud the signal is going through the A channel. So at noon is unity, and it's kind of interesting. If you wanted to do it, you could actually push harder using that level knob. So instead of having to adjust the levels on your pedal, you could do that. I think that's more of a creative decision. You can do that if you want. We are in our second mode of switching right now. That is A/bypass, and that's bringing the A effects loop in and out of your dry guitar signal. So this is pedal in. I hit it, I take it out. If we go back to our first option, that is just switching between the A channels and the B channel. Since we have nothing in the B loop, it's just the dry guitar. Let's go ahead and throw some pedals in the B loop. So now we have a delay pedal and a chorus pedal in our B loop. That sounds like this. Always fun. So now we can really dive into the different modes. And this is how you can use this pedal to eliminate a lot of pedal dancing. So if you want to go from like a cleanish tone with a bunch of effects for like a verse into a distorted tone for a chorus, you can do that this way without having to kick off pedals and kick on pedals. You can do it just with the effects loops and the orthros, and by switching between them. We are in mode 1 now, just switching between the A and B loops. And that is the way I think most people would use a pedal like this. To reduce the amount of pedal dancing in a song, have your 2 basic tones in the loops, and then switch between loop A and loop B. If we go to the second mode, that just switches between the A loop and bypass. If we go to the next mode, that's B and bypass. Next mode is A-B bypass. So we go from bypass to A to B, back to bypass, and it just cycles. With this next mode, we can actually layer loop A and loop B together and switch between those together and bypass. So that's another option for you to be creative with. Now, if we look at the last mode here, we have A, B, out. That actually has nothing to do with the effect loops. This is a totally different mode, which I can't demonstrate, but I'll tell you about. This allows you to just use the outputs on the pedal. So we can ignore these returns. And what you can do is have your guitar go into the input. Now you have 3 different outputs you could switch through. You have your main output that's on the bypass. Then you could go to a guitar amp on A. Then you could go to a different guitar amp on B. And then you just switch between those 3 outputs. So your guitar goes in, then you switch between bypass, which is just your output on top, output A or send A, and then output B or send B. And you can use that in whichever creative way you want. Maybe A goes to a guitar amp, and then B goes to a bass amp, because you play both with the same pedal board for some reason. You could have your bypass go to a tuner, guitar amp, bass amp. Sky's the limit, but that is how you use the final mode. That is all I have to say about the Orthros pedal from Joyo. Like I said in the beginning, this is not a super fun pedal, but it's a very useful pedal in specific situations. If you want to learn more about this pedal, I'll have a link in the description, and links in the description to everything I use here to make videos and make music. If you have any questions for me about this pedal, go ahead and drop a comment and I'll try to get back to you. If you have any technical support questions, I recommend you go to Joyo directly. Technical support in my comment section usually doesn't end very well. And that is all I got for you. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.